So I'm back again. This is me and this hair. I am not washing my hair. I just took a ponytail out. So I'm just gonna like comb the glue out and put some conditioner spray on my hair before I braid it. So I'm braiding my hair in cornrows straight back. After I braided it, I'm just gonna oil my scalp really good. These are the products I used. I'm gonna oil it and I'm also gonna like massage it in really well. So I'm taking my edge booster product and I'm going to just slick my edges all the way back. This holds my edges down really well. My hair is thick. So you want your hair to be dry during any frontal install, any closure install. Your hair has to be dry. That's what people don't tell you. In order to get a good install, you want your hair to be, or your edges to be completely dry. So now I'm just cutting the cap, and I have to give my eyes and my nose space, as well as my ears, while I glue the cap down. So let me just tell y'all, while I was cutting this, you see at the top, like at the top of my edges and on the sides, the cap was like really stretching and ripping kind of. So I was scared that this install was not gonna even come out right, but I just took a chance anyway. So I'm gonna just spray with the Ebens holding spray, and I'm going to dry the cap down onto my head. So I'm just showing you, I use Eben's lace bond, but sometimes I use the better than melt, but I don't like it because it's clear and I can't tell when it's dry, which is problematic for a lace frontal install. With Eben's, you lay it down, it changes to like a purplish blue color when it's about dry. So it's easier to use when it's installed. And this glue is actually really good. It's cheap as ever, so you would think like it can't work, but it's really good. So we're gonna do like kind of thin layers. I did about 5, I think, and I'm gonna just keep drawing it in between as I'm laying the layers on there. So I did do a lot of like editing, but you must dry. Like, I feel like that's something that people don't talk about when they install their wigs, is how much that they have to literally dry and make sure that the top part is like completely dry. Like, nothing should be wet. So everything is dry. I'm cutting the cap, but as you can see, you see the glue. I'm not cutting it right at the glue. I'm cutting it like, I'm leaving room at the cap, just in case I have to glue down more of the cap, or the cap will sometimes like go back. And I'm also cutting like where I molded the cap to my skin with the Eben's holding spray, because the cap will go back sometimes if you cut too much of it. So now I'm taking my my dark foundation. I'm sorry, this is not my color. So you take a shade or a few shades darker than you, and then I'm going to clean my skin with alcohol. Um, I had to, sometimes I like cut my edges down in my facial hair, and then I just had to clean my eyebrows, y'all. I had to. So we're taking the Evans tinted lace spray, spraying the lace, going back in with the foundation, and putting that on the lace as well. So I'm going to fit the cap onto my head. Then we're going to take the Even spray again and spray the front of the wig so the flyaways and extra hairs won't be in the way while we're gluing the wig down. We're doing this install in sections, so we're applying the wig as we would any other frontal wig. Don't let T-part wig, don't let that term frighten you. You install it just as you would install any other frontal. It's a frontal. It's just minimal parting. So that's really it. So this is when we're going to take actual layers. At first, I didn't do layers, you guys. When I put it on the cap and I completely let it dry, I literally just did one layer just to have an extra hold, because sometimes the holding spray doesn't always completely hold the cap down. So we're taking actual layers this time, and we're letting the glue dry as much as possible, so that it'll still stick, but it's not wet. You don't want it to be wet. And this glue, again, it'll change colors as it gets dry. It's not really white anymore. Once it's dry, it's kind of like a bluish purple. It's kind of still it looks more transparent than it does white. So when you pull the wig down to your edges, you want to make sure that it's fitting as much as possible, covering as much of the cap or the edge of the cap as possible. You don't want to just pull it down. Like, make sure you're matching it to your edges. Sometimes you have to go back in with the glue and add like a little bit more on the edges, but you guys will see that later. I forgot the skin protectant by Better Than Melt. It's perfect. It helps my installs. For some reason it seems like my installs are easier with the skin protectant. So I'm literally just going in with the comb and like making sure it's really melted. The lace is really melted into my skin. It just presses the lace down into your skin more. Here we are, putting extra glue on the edges after I cut the lace. When you cut the lace, you're going to have to add more glue, more than likely. Like, it's very rare that you won't have to add more glue. That's why you cut the lace, but you don't cut like too much, but you cut enough. I'm going back in with the brush. I didn't add any more foundation to it. I'm just using the excess foundation that was on the brush, and I'm going to just better melt the lace in with the foundation. So again, I want the flyaways out of my way because I'm adding more glue to my edges, just so this wig can melt and get like looking like scalp. Please don't be afraid to cut off more lace. If you feel like it looks like it's too much lace, cut it off. Don't try to glue it down. Every part of the lace doesn't need to be glued down. So I'm going in with the tweezers. Sometimes I pluck my wigs. I used to pluck my wigs before I put them on, but lately I've been plucking my edges with the wig on. It's harder that way sometimes, so if you're not used to that, if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it like that. So I'm going in my elastic band just so my edges and my lace could be like really melted in. The elastic band works wonders. If you don't have one, invest in one, please. Now I'm just going to define my part. You guys, you've seen it before if you watch these videos. It's nothing to really explain. I'm using a glosser. That always makes my wigs look good. So you guys, product makes wigs look good. You need some type of oil. You don't use a lot, but you need some type of oil to make these wigs look like something. FYI, this wig was completely wet when I finished this install, so I'm going to show you guys a video of how it looked when it was dry.